Hello and welcome everybody to the VooPlayer Q&A weekly webinar call. We're going to get started here in just a minute, but before we do, would you be so kind as to confirm that you can both hear my voice as well as see my screen, and then we can get started. You can see some people are already joining in. Hello to Armand, Dave, Ish, Chris, Alan. Everybody's confirming that they can both hear and see my screen, so that's great. So we can get started without any delays, so that's great. So let me just see if anybody just noted something, having problems with the system slowing down and not able. All right, so there's some questions already coming in, so that's great. So first, just a brief introduction. My name is Peter. I am the product manager of VooPlayer, and we are holding these weekly webinar calls in order to answer any questions which you as users may have, also to provide training on any advanced features or to cover use cases which are going to benefit your businesses by leveraging video. Also to showcase new stuff that we've been working on, and also to collect any feedback on how we can improve VooPlayer. If you are not able to attend one of these webinars, the replays are available both on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/c/VooPlayer, as well as on our Facebook group, which I highly encourage you to join to exchange ideas, etc., if you haven't done so already. All right, great. So, also, if you are unable to attend the webinar, but have a question which you would like to have answered during the webinar in detail, just feel free to contact our support and just say, this is one of the things that I would like to have discussed over the webinar. Great. One more housekeeping note. So I'm seeing a lot of new people joining the call. As a lot of you probably know, last couple of weeks have been pretty exciting for VooPlayer with the AppSumo promotion going on. So we've had a huge influx of new users coming into the platform. So the deal went and it's still going strong, much better than we expected. So a couple of thousands of new users, if not even more. I think almost 3,000 now new users who have joined the application, which is great news. So if any of the infamous Sumo Lings are on the call, special shout out and welcome to them all. So with all of that in mind, I just want to go over the format of the webinar pretty quickly. So the format is pretty straightforward. At any time that you have a question, or if you came prepared with some questions, you can just drop them in the chat box and we'll just answer them and discuss them in the order that they come in. So if you came prepared with any questions, now would be a good time to drop them in the chat box, and then we can start answering them. Did I want to mention anything else? Just give me a second here. I wanted to, so a couple of things. So with regards to kind of the progress of everything what we're developing currently, just with the influx of all of the new people coming in from AppSumo, we were pretty tied down, and that's why we had to cancel the webinar call last Tuesday. I was just super busy with helping on resolve a bunch of things. So a bunch of things has changed. As you know, we have a new enterprise plan. We've made significant improvements to various aspects of the application. So not to go into too much detail around anything specific, just kind of some of the focal points have been significant improvements to the migration of data. We had a lot more users coming in from our competitors than we expected. And then with that, a huge influx of unforeseen thus far issues have occurred with migrations from Wistia, Vimeo, YouTube, etc. So that's been one of the focal points. Also, a lot of new users means a lot of new videos. So there's been significant improvements in the conversion process of uploading the videos to reduce the file size occupied by those videos, as well as to improve some of the encryptions that are going on behind the scenes. So a lot has been done on those two fronts. Those have been sort of the major fronts that we've been facing. All right, so cool. So let's I see that there's a lot of questions already piling in, so I'm just gonna start tackling them one by one. So let's see. Dave is saying that he's having a problem with system slowing down and not able to save change titles, as in subtitles, probably. Maybe because I have over 1,400 titles mainly clones. Any suggestions? You're not able to save titles, so that's probably individual videos that you're trying to save. Would the number of titles or videos impact your ability to save anything? No, not necessarily. So the only impact to, so I have 102, let's call them titles, videos that are not going to impact performance of anything else in the application aside from that initial load of the data in the dashboard. So all of the actions which you are taking from there onwards are definitely not going to be affected by that speed. So only the initial reading of all of those values is what's going to be affected. So if that slowdown is consistent for you, Dave, we'd love to take a look at it. So just tell us your system seems like it's slowing down, and we'll take a look at it. But honestly, I don't see any reasons why a number of videos would impact the speed of the application. There's just no correlation between those actions, the getting the videos and then manipulating the videos. There's just nothing affected there. So questions for interactions and CTAs. On finish action, use redirect to URL. I added my URL, which is domain name.com. When saved, it went to 404 not found due to due to a www is hard coded, and in front of what I added, if I do not put my HTTPS on it, it redirects. Question: is there any way not to have the HTTP www hard coded in? I wasn't aware that there was any prefix to that URL. So let me just make sure that we're talking about the same thing. So I'll come over here to edit this film test video. And what Dave is referring to is in marketing tools, interactions, on finish action, and I'm just going to select over here redirect to URL. So I believe that's what the feature in question is. So if I enter in, so what did Dave say? So I enter here HTTPS domain name.com. Let's just leave it at that. So I'm just going to save that and publish it. So let's just see what happened there. So let me just watch this. So where is this going to redirect me to? There seems to be some sort of a prefix being appended to this. So I'm just going to jump to the end of the video, and that redirected me directly to HTTPS domain name.com. Maybe because I didn't add a dot there, I think, HTTPS domain name.com. So that looked, I can see something a little bit weird here going on, but I'm not sure necessarily what it is. So I don't see anything being added, but for some, let's try this. So let me just remove domainname.com. Let me go back to the video just so we can try it once more. Now that's the domain name. So let's see where this is going to redirect me. So at least the way the HTTP requests work is that if you are on a, yep, all right, so that worked. So if you are originating, or if your actions are happening on HTTPS, and you provide a URL which does not have a specified protocol, so it doesn't have HTTP or HTTPS, it's just going to default to the one you're coming from. So that's just going to default straight to HTTPS / so if I do www and publish it, let's try that as well and just see what's going to happen there. And let me jump to the end of the video again. So that's going to take me to HTTPS www domainname.com. So that all seems like it's working as it should, if I'm not understanding a particular aspect of it. I definitely don't see anything being added to that redirect. So must be something on your end, as I can see that you suspect. So feel free to test it out once more, and if you run into an issue, just shout out through support, and then we can try and resolve that particular issue. Again, from what I see, I don't see anything there that should be affecting anything in specific. All right, so let's move on. Alan is asking, how does the AppSumo promotion affect the affiliate program? Whose affiliate program? WooPlayer's affiliate program or the AppSumo's affiliate program? So AppSumo also has, and I'm not an AppSumo user, so do forgive me for kind of stumbling through this. So I believe somewhere in here, so yeah, so I can have a referral link. So this is my referral link from AppSumo, which you can use, and I'm not sure necessarily how to do that, but AppSumo has their ours. All right, so Alan provided a clarification. So our affiliate program. So there's no so I'm just trying to understand what's the connection between our affiliate program and the AppSumo promotion. Is the concern there that if somebody clicks on the link, and then because our affiliate program should point all of the pages to, point all of the referral links directly to the home page. So the only conflict I'm seeing is that if your affiliate link is going to the home page, and then somehow the visitor from the home page finds out about AppSumo and goes and purchases from the AppSumo, yes, in that you are losing that referral. So purchases through AppSumo. So if somebody leaves the WooPlayer site and goes purchases from the AppSumo deal, then you are not getting that referral because that purchase is not made with us. It's more to do with pricing. Again, if you can just provide a little bit more detail with regards to what your question is, so that I'm not sort of guessing at what the affiliate program and the AppSumo promotion have in conflict, that'll be really appreciated. So just maybe a paragraph about what your concern is. In the meantime, I'll just get to some other questions. So Lewis is saying, using the modern flat theme, the timeline bar was, maybe still is, producing a mix of colors between the background color and player bars. Yesterday I noticed that it was gone, but today it's back. Which is the glitch, if any? And also the outer ring in color does not change using these themes, but just changes to a darker shade of the chosen background color. All right, so that's a good question, and that there's a lot to cover there. So Lewis is using the modern skin theme. So let me just switch to it over here. So from traditional, I'm just going to switch over to modern, and just so we have something to work with, I'm just going to give us some colors to get started with. So I'll just I don't know, I'm not going to be too creative here, but I'll do red, and I'll do yellowish or greenish, yellow-greenish for the controls, and we can leave this as sort of purplish for the controls. So there is definitely some calculated colors that are going on here, which are not specified, and to some extent, we believe this is the best approach to handling this. So we could, for example, specify you to input 20 different colors. So for example, let me just kind of close out of this so we can see this a little bit better. Actually, let me make this color a little bit less transparent so that we can see what Lewis is talking about. Maybe a little bit darker, because I think that's going to illustrate it a little bit clearer. Yeah, I think that you can see that. So as you can see, the border itself around the video, around the play button, and let me just kind of stop animating that so that we don't get a seizure while looking at it. All right, so there we go. So the border around the play button is calculated in proportion to the background of the controls, which is assigned to all of the controls, and the main one of those controls is the play button. And the border itself, if I'm not mistaken, the way that we set this up originally, and I would have to check the details on this, but I believe if it's determined that it's a dark color, then meaning that its lightness is below 50%, then it will lighten it up by 25%. Whereas if it's a dark color, then it will lighten it up by around 25%. And I'm not positive on those numbers, so don't hold me to that. But the basic idea is that there's this colors, there's a lot of different colors which are happening on the interactions. As you can see, when I'm hovering over the seek bar, different colors are being utilized in different places, and different colors are calculated for the progress bar of the video, which is the content of the video, which is loaded. Vice versa. So I don't know if you can see it here, but there's a light difference between the where I am currently in time versus the content which was loaded in. So there's I don't know, and there's some combination of using these colors in some other elements throughout the viewing experience, for notifications, for overlays, and for so on. So bottom line is that we have taken it upon ourselves to kind of try and do some smart calculations around how we can use these three basic colors which you provide to develop complementary palette of additional colors which can be applied throughout the video controls. So as I said, that's one approach which we feel is working well thus far. However, to give users full control, I said we would probably need to have around 10 different inputs in here to specify each one, and it would be, I think, a bit of an overkill to kind of try and accomplish that. So, for example, if I was trying to set up a WooPlayer theme, of course, I have one already set up, but let's just, for the sake of the argument, say that I don't. I'll just come over here and say, hey, WooPlayer has a yellow color. WooPlayer has a really dark gray color. So I can use that for the controls. And the WooPlayer has an orangey reddish color as well. I think it's somewhere around there. And I can utilize that, and that's all gonna calculate all of those colors, additional colors, proportionally, while making the player look pretty good. So that's kind of the idea behind it. We wanted to kind of simplify that experience of matching your brand, but I definitely see some perhaps additional value in providing much more colors with regards to what can be customized for additional use cases. So let me just kind of, with all of that in mind, let me just kind of circle back to some of the questions which Louis pointed out. So I went over why some of the colors are mixed, and the timeline bar was producing a mix of colors between the background color and the player bars. Yesterday I noticed it was gone. So yeah, so you're probably referring to the color which is the remainder of how much video was loaded versus, so let me simulate that. Let me just save this, and I'll just refresh it just so we can see that bar being filled out as the content is being loaded in, the source content of the video is being loaded in. In the meantime, let me just see if there's any other questions. Color customization is good. Too many starts looking messy. All right, so when I play the video, you'll see, well, it's already completely loaded in because it was cached. But you can see that different color is, and I never specified this color, which is the remainder time, anywhere, but that's one of the values which are calculated, and I think that's calculated by the controls color with 10% opacity over the bar. So again, there's many different variations on how this is calculated based on if you have dark colors or you have light colors or if you have colors which are too close to each other and so on. So hopefully that kind of, I know that doesn't answer your question directly, but hopefully I got out of answering it directly. Color customization good, too many starts looking messy. All right, so we had a discussion a few weeks ago in which you said that you were going to pull the Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter skins. The last time I looked, they were still up. So did you guys change your mind? We didn't change our mind. This is the reference to when you are also customizing the skins of the player. Aside from the default, which you have, one of the things that we did when we were creating Wool Player version 4 was we said, hey, it would be cool, and a lot of people would kind of have benefits from replicating the players of different social media providers. So for example, if I wanted a player which looked strictly as Facebook's, I can kind of replicate that. If I wanted one which looked like Twitter's, I can replicate that. And if I wanted one which looked like YouTube's, I could replicate that as well. One of the problems with that is that of course, those players on their social networks are going to continue changing, and you're just not going to have that look and feel which you had originally. And the second thing is, as you're developing the application in the background, you kind of forget that, because we always use the default, we kind of forget that you have 2 or 3 different skins which are not the default, which need to be kind of considered in this. So the reason why this hasn't always been as smooth with different skins is more or less because, to be honest, nobody is really using them, and we haven't received any sort of priority around, hey, the Facebook skin is really important to me, and the only reason why I got Wool Player was to have the Facebook skin so I can emulate the Facebook player. So that's why they kind of sometimes lag behind in catching up to other features. So what Louis is referring to is one of my comments from one of the last webinars where I said I really don't like these additional features, and we're going to consider moving them. And to my point, it was not, to Lewis's point, we didn't follow through on that. And again, to what I said, again, we didn't see any priority, and we were more or less really scrambling around some other things to cover instead of these skins. Again, not carrying so much priority on our end currently, but my feeling still remains is that they are likely to produce more pain than gain. So the better way of handling this, I see, is as us more or less not giving you different skins, but giving you different themes which you could apply. So let me just go back to the default. So kind of the way that I would see this working is we would lose the player controls selection entirely, and basically you would just be able to pre-select themes which you wanted to apply. And some of those themes could closely resemble some of the players on social media, but we would definitely not have them. As the difference is that the themes are loading, and you can see they can load very different styles, and here's the one which I simulated actually on the last call. So here's a Twitter skin theme, which can simulate the players and their appearance on different platforms, whereas the actual skins are using different files which need to be maintained and looked at every time something changes. So that's why I don't necessarily see that solution as sustainable. Again, so to clarify, my feeling on this is, and we kind of need to investigate if this is necessarily the best approach, is to offer predefined themes rather than predefined skins, and some of those themes may as well have resemblance to some of the players which are offered via social media providers.
All right, so that was a mouthful. When I apply conditions from another video, specifically to wrap an intro and outro around the video, the code generated for the embed is incomplete. Perhaps I am missing a step, but the source field is empty. If I manually complete this field, the video works as it should. Alrighty, so that has nothing to do with kind of the steps which you're taking, just to clarify that. So let me just, we'll use the film test video again. So, and I've talked about this throughout the webinar a few times, is that since recently we turned on the beta performance optimization code, and as you can see, by default, the source is, where's the source here? Am I missing it somewhere? There it is at the end. So the source is empty, and that's the part of the optimization. It doesn't mean that it's incomplete. It means that we don't want to load the source until the user says that they are ready to interact with the player, allowing us for much better performance on load times of pages. If this code on, and you should get this anytime you click on publish a video, you should default to this version without the source. And if that on its own, it's not working for you, please do let us know, because it's always possible. We've debugged this a lot, but it's always possible that for some reason it doesn't work on a particular platform. However, in answer to your question, if you want to revert back to the non-beta performance code, you can just toggle this off. And then that's going to generate the old familiar embed code, which you're familiar with. So hopefully that answers that question. I think that's more or less a misconception around how that's working, rather than anything going on wrong with that process. Again, has nothing to do with the steps that you're taking. It's just that all of the videos have that code now, unless you specify them not to. All right, so Lewis is saying, as long as you can maintain those saved skins so they don't glitch, then great, good idea. Yeah, we're again, as said, even in the case of us retiring those Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube skins in the player, they should continue to work. Again, really the focus there is not so much on the skins themselves rather than the appearance of the skins. And I feel once we switch the theme-based approach, then that's what we're going to maintain instead of the skins. Let's see, Lewis is saying V3 provided the pop-up player with a slide shadow, but not in V4. Pop out or pop up? Pop out player with a slide shadow, but not in V4. Oh, actually, I know what you're talking about. So what it looked sort of 3D-ish with the drop shadow around it. A lot of people hated that. I don't know if you liked it or not, but that defaults back to Lightbox. So that's the pop-up. All right, not the pop-out, the pop-up. I was slightly confused there, because the default for V3 was you had a player which is embedded on the page, and then that had a drop shadow around it, and that just I don't want to get into that unless somebody insists, but that was just terrible. All right, so V4 as well offers a pop-up code. So here it is. So if you, let me just show you how I got here. So if you come over here to the publish options for video, by default you have selected the embed, but you're also able just to switch over here to the pop-up code, and you can change what it looks like. You can have a link text, or you can use an image. I'll just select an image here, and I can select one of the images from my library. So let me see. I'll use this one. This is a cool one. I can use the email GIF one, and I'll just copy that code, and let me just paste it in our testing environment. So I'll just create a new post. My screen is a bit glitchy, so apologies if it is on your end as well. So pop up test, and I'll say click here to open a video, and I'll just add this code that I got from Bull Player, publish it. And let's open up this page and see what it looks like. So click here to open the video, and then when I click on the video, here's a light box with that video opened up as a light box. I think that's what you were referring to, and if not, additional clarification will help. Has he gone? Alan is asking if I'm gone, so I'm just I just wanted to confirm that you guys can still hear me. Is the audio still good? Video good? Can we just get an okay on that, just so we know we're okay to proceed? Anybody? Dean is saying yes. All right. I'm getting a lot of yeses. All right. So good. So we're still good. All right. Cool. With that in mind, I don't see any other questions, and we're kind of hitting the time mark over here. So, any time for but you're about to run out meter clicking, exactly. So I just want to thank everybody for joining this week and for asking great questions and for continuing to help us improve WooPlayer. As I mentioned, once more, I would like to apologize for not being able to hold the webinar last week. Once more, I want to extend the welcome to everybody joining the webinar from AppSumo. Deal, I haven't seen any of them chiming in. They're just probably checking out what the promotion, what these webinars are like. So hopefully you guys are going to continue joining throughout the weeks to come and become part of the WooPlayer development and feedback community. And we would really appreciate that. So hope to see you all next week. Thank you again for joining, and have a great day. Bye.